everyone, welcome to Whisky and Synths. Alright, it's actually more like whiskey and coffee today because it's 10 in the morning and we're in Tonic Studios, also known as Edinburgh College Studios, and it's just a bit early. Well, you know, sometimes I have whiskey early in the morning, but not today, and also you're not allowed whiskey in this place. But anyway, it's worth coming here because we've got the Moog Rogue synth, which is from 1981. It's one of Moog's. Wildest kind of synthesizers. It's only got two waveforms, the harshest ones, saw and square, like that. So what we're going to do is make a sample pack from this for you guys. You'll be able to download the samples from this synth, kind of a bunch of different one shots, a bunch of different loops, and we've got an interesting signal chain we're running it through because it's famous for being totally wild. So we're running it through the Ampeg bass amp, this absolute beast, kind of vintage style bass amp. And then it's going through an AKG C414 mic and an Audix D6 mic. And then we're running it through an SSL desk and a classic LA2A compressor as well to get this awesome vintage sound, warm sound. It'll be good for kind of fat basses, it'll be good for harsh techno, maybe some really deep sounding stuff. Might even try and do some pads with it as well. Going to give you guys a closer look at it too. If I was to pair it with a whiskey, it would probably be something well fiery like a Talisker, Lafroig, or even the Octomore that we had in season 1, because it is a fiery mad beast. Well, all we've got to do is tune it, and then I'll get a close-up look of it to show you a little bit about what it does, all its features and stuff like that. I think we're ready to go. Oh shit, I knocked the camera as well, sorry.
Oh, David, no.
And let's move the synth actually. Yeah. So everyone, here we've got the Moog Rogue from 1981, like we said before. What I want to do is just do a little feature walkthrough of what we've got going on in the Moog just now. So I'm going to start with some of the basic stuff and then how you'd sort of design a patch on it, I guess, as well. So to get sound to start with, we need to make sure master volume here is up, power's on. Got these really cool like funky flick switches, which I like, a bit unusual. I've not seen it much on different synths or Moogs anyway. They normally have bigger dials like these guys here. It's kind of cool. Oscillator 1, and all the oscillator sounds can be controlled in the mixer here. So we've got two oscillators and a noise oscillator. So I'm going to bring up oscillator 1. What I like about the mixer is it's got this overdrive section here, so you can the tone will kind of saturate as we go into it. So that's oscillator 1 brought up. I'll bring up oscillator 2 as well so we can hear that. So you should hear the sound getting a little bit thicker as well. So for the oscillator control section here, we've got oscillator 2 synced to oscillator 1 now, so it should be fairly synced in its pitch. We've got it set to the triangle wave here, or we can switch it to the square. So slightly different tones, but both pretty harsh and crazy. That's one of the reasons I love this synth. It's pretty wild for a Moog rather than like deep and subby. It's kind of like got an octave setting, so we can change the octave of the keyboard. And then what's nice is you can actually use this style here to control oscillator 2's kind of pitch. So is it going to be like in unison? So you can hear it has some mad chorus effects a little bit, especially if the oscillator 2 sync is off. So now it's just controlling its. So that's kind of quite cool. It's got a fatter sound. So you can see, even in this oscillator section, you've got a lot of wave shaping. Well, not wave shaping, but you know, a lot of kind of detuning between unison and octave intervals. You've got the different... so yeah, and if you want to control it a bit more, we can head over to the filter section just here. So the filter... I really like how it's like quite, it got an almost acid grave. Quite aggressive resonance on the filter as well, which like, it can be keyboard tracked and you've got how much that's applied. And then above that, you've got your envelope generator here for the amp, so we can kind of do a more pad sound like. Or you can have it just like, and the decay. Got a few options like there's the sustain for a bit longer sustain, and you can bypass it completely, or only when it's keyed as well. So a few options there. Then one of the most best things for the sound design is you've got your modulation here. So it's like an LFO of a triangle or a square or a noise wave. It can be set to the oscillator and it can be set to the filter, and it can be set, is it auto triggered when you press a key, or does it keep consistently running? So you have to set the rate of it, bring up the mod wheel, say put it to the pitch. So you almost get mad rhythms if you let the decay go. So that's not an arpeggiator, that's not a sequence, that's the LFO changing the sort of pitch of the oscillators. Pretty cool. Or if you do it with the noise wave, it should be pretty random. Then lastly, you've got your glide. How does it glide between the different notes when you play them as well? Maybe have a look at that. And then you've got your tuning dial for the overall master tuning of it, since it's an analog bit of gear, depending on temperature and other factors, it was slightly out of tune, so you can tune that with like a guitar tuner. Your smartphone has a tuner on it sometimes. Yeah, just get it tuned before you use it as well. And also you've got your pitch bend wheel, which are quite cool. They're not springed, so they don't return sort of straight back to center like a lot of ones do. So you have to do that. So it's kind of a bit different to some other synths I've played, but one of my favorite Moogs I've ever played, one of my favorite synths I've played. It's an absolute joy to have it here in the Tonic Note Studios. And yeah, let's make a sample pack so you guys can get some of the sounds out of it. Yeah. It's post EQ on the amp. It's post EQ on the amp, so maybe that's why. It's post EQ on the amp. It's not like pre. Yeah, no EQ on the desk, but EQ on the amp. Let's just record, because I've already EQ'd it on the desk, and if I change this, that'll fuck up the desk. So let's just go for it, mate. So one thing you might be thinking is like, oh, what's the point in making all this sample pack and stuff? Well, of course, with a synth like this, it's kind of cool that you might not have access to a Moog Rogue. Not many people do. I'm lucky for the college I do, and this amp give access to cool amps and stuff through Edinburgh College, which I really love the place. So that's good. Can share the sounds with you guys. But you might think, oh well, how's this process going to help you at home? Well, say you've got a synth or maybe a VST on your computer or any bit of gear or even plugins. Sometimes when you sit down, you're like, oh, I want to make music, but you don't have inspiration for a full track. You're more in like jamming mode is kind of what's a good way to call it. And I got this tip from one of my favorite producers, Legowelt, and he said, when you're just jamming out, just record it. Record the whole thing, not being like worrying about if you make mistakes or if it's even in tempo or time or beat matched or whatever. Just record it. And then what you can do later is come back to that recording and just choose little clips from it, little loops from it, little one-shot sounds from it, and then you can save them in a little folder somewhere in your computer and just name them, give them a cool name like Repeat ARP 1 or whatever. And then if you do that enough, eventually you'll be building up your own personal sample pack throughout the months, the years. And that means when you go to like load in samples, if you're looking for inspiration, you've already got your own ones that are different to what everyone else has got, that you made earlier when you were more in jamming mode, but now you're ready to start a track. So you can use the samples from when you were jamming before. So yeah, would thoroughly recommend going through this sort of sampling process. What I do is just record the whole thing. If you make a sound you like, definitely record an octave of it. So low C, high C, next C, next C, as many kind of octaves as you can. So when you load it into a sampler, you get a bit of a truer sound. Professionally, a lot of people who do sampling will actually do a whole recording of each key, also every different velocity as well. But to be honest, that's like pro level, like Spitfire Audio do that kind of stuff. Samples from Mars do that kind of stuff. For us today, we'll just be jamming out, recording it, high C, low C, all that kind of stuff as well. So super looking forward to showing you that process, having the sounds, and hopefully you can take some techniques and it'll help you build your own sample pack as well. Let's get in this one here. Cheers, guys. So hope everyone enjoyed the show today. More like coffee and whiskey, like you said. No, it's no whiskey, coffee and synths rather than whiskey and synths. But hopefully you got some good out of it. If you like the show, you can support us on Patreon. That'll get you access to the sample pack. That'll get you access to stems from the other shows you can use in your own productions. That'll get you access to Tonic Note Records, which is our label of synth artists in Scotland. Get you discounts for the shows, discount tickets, discount EPs, discount t-shirts, and also more sample packs and content from the other artists on the label as well. So Patreon will help us develop the channel, make it better, but hopefully you'll get some awesome rewards for it that'll inspire you in your own music production, because really that's what the channel's all about, having fun with synths, with a bit of whiskey or coffee, and inspiring you guys just to go out and make music. So thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of the season. Cheers guys.
Oh!